But let's start from the beginning. And when was the beginning? It was long time ago. I must think after 1878 it was. And it was the Swedish King Oscar II who opened the first railway line on Gotland. And it went from Visby, the old town where you came with your ship, to a small place middle of the island called Hesselby. This railway, that's your fault. You invented it. Everybody, after you invented it, everybody wanted it, but nobody did know what shall we have it for. So it was for the people on Gotland. What do we need a railway on the island? But when there was a sugar beet factory built in Roma from where we left some years later, then you could use a railway, because in the autumn the sugar beet must be taken from the field to the factory. And should every farmer take his sugar beets directly from the field to the factory? There were no roads, old horse, bad wagon. No, you took them to the nearest station, small station like this, put the sugar beets on the quay here, and then the sugar beet train came. 20, 30 open wagon. When there was a wagon standing in Roma, maybe you noticed it. The sugar beet train came here, stopped, side down, sugar beet on the wagon, side up, and then to Roma, and there were made white sugar. How you do that, I can tell you, because I worked at the factory. Not at that time, but later I've been working. Okay, it went very well with those sugar beet transports for the economy of the railway. More and more lines were built, and all were crossing Roma because of the factory. For instance, this line, it goes from northeast, from Slite to Roma. The gauge is Swedish narrow gauge, and that corresponds to 3 Swedish feet. I always say men feet, because women feet are almost small, so that it doesn't function. But take it in millimeters, it's 891 millimeter between the rails. Normal European is 1,435. What you have in the UK, I don't know. But you have always something else. Almost all. Okay, it went very well with those. During the First War, the Second War, there was a rationation on coal. We had steam engines and so on. During the Second War, Sweden wasn't formally in the war, but there were many military who were crossing north and south of the island. And there was some rationation too on petrol. But after the Second War, there came a new enemy, and who was that? It was the car, tractors, lorries. Every farmer had the Russians were. Every farmer had his own tractor, and he could put several wagons behind it, so he could take a greater amount of sugar beets directly from the field to the factory. So you didn't need this unloading here on those small stations. It costed money, it took time, and as the sugar factory decided all transports of the sugar beets shall go on the land road, then it was no economy anymore for all the railway lines. The smaller shut down. The headline, it was at that time built from north to south of Gotland. It was taken over by the state railway company, Statens Järnvägar, SG. The first thing they did was to raise the tickets. They thought they would get a little more money, but it was opposite. Nobody could afford to go. They made the wagons more comfortable. The big wagon, it's built on Gotland 1935, and then it had wood seats, and everybody who was sitting in it, it was a little more comfortable. But the smaller wagon, it has still wood seats. They put even smaller. Yes, they changed the steam engines against such a small locomotive. It's a diesel, 8-cylinder, and you can be one person to drive it. You must always have your foot on a dead man's switch. If you take your foot away, the engine stops in 7 seconds. A steam engine, you are always 2 persons if something has one heater and one driver. Yes, and then they always, SJ also put in railway buses, and they were very quick, 70, 80 kilometers per hour. Such a small engine goes 40 maximum. But the railway net was built. The crossing point of Gotland was middle of the island in Roma. So if you were in Slite east and wanted to go to west, to Visby, everybody wanted to go to Visby. You had to take a train down to Roma first and another up. And it took some hours. Instead you could take a bus on the land road directly. In 1 hour you were in Visby. And that state railway company at last understood. And 1960 it was finished with all railway on Gotland. Everything was taken away. The rails and underparts of the wagons, it was iron, you could sell it. You sold some rails to India. What do they need our rails for? Well, they didn't use them as rails, they used them as telegraph masts because they were made of wood and they have those small animals, termites, that eat up the wood. But the Swedish steel they didn't manage. Yes, so everything was away with railway. Yes, and the upper part you could get, you just smash them and burn them up, or you could have them free as a summer house or whatever you wanted. At that time, Gotland was divided in small communities, and one community it was Roma, and the community people there wanted a memory of this great railway time. So they put up a big steam engine, a German one built 1920 by Hesselby. And it is now on renovation. The kiln is okay again. Now the bearings for the wheels are in Czechoslovakia and will be new made. So I say in 2 years we have steam engine again. Then you can come back and go steam. Yes, they put this steam engine and the big wagon and in middle in Roma. But it belonged to the State Railway Museum in Gävle. It's north of Stockholm. So nobody.
This line's still here.
Wait.
Sorry.
I said everything was taken away.
Yes, that's what I thought you
And
said.
then everything was taken away. They put the steam engine and that in Roma. But yes, it belonged to the museum in Gävle. But so nobody cared about this train. Windows were smashed and it looked not good. And Scotland got one big community. The first thing on the agenda was, what shall we do with this awful train in Roma? Well, it must go back to the museum, of course. And so it was decided. But there were some railway enthusiasts on Gotland. They said, no, the train goes not to Gävle, it stays on the island. And they started the association, the Gotland train, Gotlandstäget in Swedish. And that was 1972. How many years ago was that?
52.
50?
52.
Yes, good. 52 years ago. We were allowed to take over the train from the museum, and by the military help, they transported it on the land road to Hesselby, where we are. In Hesselby, we got rails and points from the mainland and built up the station area again, and 700 meters south on this line to where the railway crosses the land road. There stands an old oak. It's 300-400 years old. It was once hit by the lightning, so it's burned out inside, so you can stand in it. But it's growing and green. And at that time, if you wanted to go by with a museum train, you put steam on our steam engine and the big wagon, and you went to the oak. But 700 meters, you do it in 1 minute. You must get some value for your ticket. So back again to Hesselby, 700 meters, then once again to the oak, and everybody out, and somebody like me told the history, and then back again. And then you have gone museum train on Gotland. And I can assure you, every citizen on Gotland has one in his her life gone to the oak. And how can I say that? Well, it's like this. To Christmas time, one day, Santa Claus lives in the oak. And that day we go from morning to evening, all the time, crossing song. The children, they meet Santa Claus in the oak, they get sweets, and the parents, well, they just meet and have a chat. This was going to the oak, 700 meters, little boring. Could we go a little longer? Could we build up the line a little longer? Could we build up the line the whole way to Roma? Oh, impossible. Where do we get so much money? It's almost 7,000. But we found money. And where? Well, as Sweden got membership in the EU, there we found money. Lots of money. Development of tourism of small island and what it was named. In 4 steps we built up the line again. We didn't get all the money. So how do we get the missing part? Well, on the whole line you need new sleepers. Sleeper, that's the wood stock that the line that the rails are lying on. Rails they were old, we put on the main line, but sleepers must be new. So we sold the sleepers for 25 euro piece as a contribution, and it was very popular as a Christmas present or birthday present, or when you pay your yearly fee. I pay some sleepers too. And first somebody said, let's number every sleeper so you can see where that sleeper I have paid for. But as I said, hey, it says I'm a safety officer here. I said, no, forget this. We can't have people looking on their after their sleepers on the line. That's not that's too risky. So instead we have those small. You see a big sign there. On every station we have those signs, and everybody who has bought the sleepers to section 2, they find it on this. I have bought them, so I find my name there. Barney has paid 10. Yes, that's correct. Look. Oh, but that's the guy I know. How many has he put before? Only one. Oh, that was 2050, then we had built up the whole line, and we had a railway the whole week, every day. Yes. What is this for a house middle in the forest? Well, at that time, the lines were divided in railway worker sections. And one section was from Roma to Hesselby. And the railway worker, he had to live somewhere with his family. So you built a house halfway, and he could rent it. He should check his line, his section once a day, and was something wrong, he had to fix it. The wife she sold tickets, but no big job, 1-2 tickets every day. But there was also a post office here, because you had always a post wagon in the train list. So if you put the letter in there, if you had luck, you could get it 15 minutes later. Or if you go from Slite the wrong way, you can get it in 1 hour here. And that doesn't the Swedish post manage to do. I promise you. I don't know how it's with yours. You can rent this. It belongs to the association. It has all modern facilities. So, but it's inside looks like so 1950. So it's a nostalgia. And you should like trains, because in the summer we go 4 days a week, Wednesday, Tuesday, Saturday, and Sundays, 3 times up and down. We always stop here, and then we have charter trains like today, and there are lots of them. And if there are no train going, you can rent a bike, special bike. You will see them when you come to Hesselby, and you can go by yourself here.